And we are live. So, welcome everybody
Oh,
tonight to Blossom's Radio Network. How you doing, Mike?
not too bad. How about yourself?
Nah, just as good as can be, and anything worse, nobody pay attention anyway. So,
Yeah. Can't complain. And if you did, nobody would listen, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
nobody's going to pay any attention anyway to it. So why worry about
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
So,
Yep. So what's new?
not much. We got footings in out at the Ashmore for the house we're going to build. So
Oh, really?
that's a plus. Actually, we didn't. They did. I didn't. I didn't do anything with the footings. I'm not the. I didn't have the equipment to do that. So
It's
after
good
watching what
though.
they did, I could probably do it. But yep, so that's
Oh yeah.
done. And now we're
Good.
ordered all the block, get ready to lay block, and then I can start building. So that'll give me something to do in my spare time.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. What little spare time you have, like you stay
Yeah,
so busy with stuff, right?
but that's all right. It'll come. We'll get it done. Sooner or later, it'll all happen. So
Yeah. It'll
those
be
things there at
cool to
roads.
see everything finished. Not too
Oh yeah,
bad. It's picking up, busy. People are booking more and more, and this Saturday we have the public investigation, which is I think we're down to like 2 tickets left. I think so. Um, yeah, it's almost sold out. So anybody wants tickets, you better buy them like now because they're almost gone. But yeah, busy is busy, and like I said, it's picking up now. It's starting to warm up, and even though we have heat here and people book during the cold months, like you know how it is, it starts warming up. Everybody comes out of hibernation and decides, hey, let's go investigate.
oh yeah. We've kind of ran the same thing out there at Ashmore. It's just we booked everything pretty early, but we don't have any Saturday nights left. I think we got till November. And I think there may be
Yeah,
one or two Friday nights available, and that's about it.
yeah, you've been booking really heavily lately.
So, yeah, we don't even have any events coming up this year, because we've got the Tennessee Race Chasers coming in April 2nd, so that's coming up
Mhm.
pretty quick, and we'll have Mike on the show here towards the end of the month. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
coming up pretty quick, and that's about it. And
yeah,
not much, yeah, not much in the way of celebrity type events at all. And
yeah. You're booked. You're booked solid.
yeah,
There's no room for any events this year, right?
yep, dates are all filled. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
just that's the way it goes. But that's all right. That's
yeah,
good, and it'll
yeah,
keep us
yeah. It's
busy out
good.
there.
Yeah,
So
yes, I hear you. Yeah, and I'm glad it's kind of booking up even heavier here now. Crystal's been talking about how she's been busier.
yeah, that's good. And and of course, no, what she's really been talking about is that she's almost done with dealing with me. That's what she's really been talking about.
Yeah. Yep. She's like on the countdown, I guess. I think both of you are though. You kind of sound like you're kind of on the countdown too.
So yeah,
Yeah.
just so I can harass her, and then when she calls me, I'm like, not my decision. So
Yeah. Yep.
yeah,
Don't help you.
talk,
You're on your
talk to
own.
the
See ya.
hand. So it's like,
Exactly. Yeah.
and
Hmm.
yep, you're on your own. I don't have anything to do with this now. Sorry. So, but
Yep.
so yeah, so
Yep.
that'll be fun.
Yep.
And
Just say figure it out, right?
yep. So hey, Marcus, thanks
Yeah.
for coming back. Nancy, Jamie Lynn, glad you guys are joined us tonight. Just kind of saw you there in the comment section.
Yeah, and thanks for tuning in, guys, and checking out the show again tonight. And it's going to be fun tonight. Jeff's gonna be a blast, I'm sure. All
Jeff's
kinds of
gone.
stuff.
I don't know where he went,
He's
but
gone.
yeah,
Oh, he's gone.
Jeff left the building. So
Jeff left the
hopefully,
building.
hopefully he'll log back in. I'm not sure where he went
Yeah.
to, but up there, I think he's coming back now. So,
Oh, he's back.
but,
Okay, good.
and,
Yep, it'll
but
be fun. And we have to talk about his near-death experience on the mountainside.
so yeah,
Um, yeah, it's always fun hearing his side of things with that.
and one thing I did this week is I kind of, or last week, I listened in on StreamYard, which is the platform that I've been using. And
Hmm.
because people put messages in there, they'll make comments, and I can't answer those. You can kind of answer them, but what happens is if any reply I put in there, it's got to go to all three, people are on Lost Limbs page, they're on the
Yeah.
Paranormal Chat page, they're on the Ashmore page, they're on Rhodes page, and you can't single out that one person, or you can't reply to that one person. So, which kind of stinks. But
so there's just no option for that at all.
So yeah, they don't have anything available right now. You can respond to all of them, but you can't respond to just that one.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, and but she told me that you can like star stuff and come back and catch some of those later or something like that too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll play with it and see.
Yeah, hopefully they'll change that at some point to where we can kind of just go on and just send messages and all that stuff. Yeah, while we're on. But,
yep, and I can always respond to them like the next day or something like that, going through things. But
yeah,
my problem is that I'm too busy during the day to try to do that. But somebody I know doesn't have anything.
That's what I was going to say. We talked about this before. I need to get on there and start trying to get on and kind of responding to people more. But yeah, so I'll have to get on there and start responding to people.
Sorry I had to sell your ticket.
Oh yeah.
Make sure whoever it is lets me know that they've got that, because there's a list of ticket holders, and we want to make sure that we match it up. And there's a lot of scam stuff going on out there, so make sure that they know, that they get in touch with me, so I can put their name on the list.
Yeah, we both had issues with scamming and stuff, like with people trying to sell tickets that they didn't have tickets to.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, both here and there. Yeah.
And I don't do any live broadcast out there. People that come out there a lot of times do. And if I see it, then I'll try to share it like to our Ashmore page or something like that. But I don't normally see a lot of that stuff that people are doing live out there. And like I said, I'm not out there doing most of those investigations, because those are private investigations. So, yep. Mike's done a couple there at Rhodes, but I live 2 hours away. He lives like 2 minutes away. So
yeah, if I was a little closer, I'd like, hey, Robin, come borrow your key for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Go wander over for a little while. Yeah.
And Melissa, no, we're not doing Ash Bash this year. I kind of like just wrote that off, because I wasn't sure what was going on with the pandemic stuff, and you didn't know where things were going to head, and I didn't want to schedule this stuff. The last time I did something like that was for the suicide event, and that cost me about $1,000, just because I couldn't get money back from airline tickets and things like that. So so I've kind of held off until we've kind of got the all clear around here to do stuff. And that just actually happened here in Illinois not too long ago, that the governor, I think the governor's, without getting into politics, I think the governor's ratings were going down, and so the COVID stuff went away. And yeah, so no problems like that. Jamie mentioned she's changed her name on Eventbrite, so that's good.
Oh yeah.
So, well, unless you got something else, let's bring Mr. Jeff in and see what he's up to.
Yeah, let's bring him in.
There he is. Look at that! Look at those dimples.
What's up, guys?
Doing, sir? Not much.
I'm here. That's about it. I'm alive and well. That's all you can do these days.
Everybody complains about sometimes getting up on Monday morning. So I'm like, I look at that. If I get up on Monday morning, I'm excited.
That's right. You wake up, you're good to go.
Yep. I'm vertical. I'm ready to go.
So how's it going?
You guys just had a big event this weekend, didn't you? This past weekend.
Yeah, we had it up there with Dustin and Chris at Fairfield County Infirmary, and it was a good event. It was really good. It's the first time I'd ever been there. Had never been to Fairfield before, and I highly recommend it to anybody if anybody's looking for a place to go and do an overnight, or they do flashlight tours or whatever there. Really good place, a really interesting place. The history on it is very similar to Ashmore, with the poor farm and the other different generations of things that kind of went on. So it's an interesting place for sure.
Yeah, it's nice to see Chris getting back in the swing of things again.
Yeah, she is. We're getting her back into it. That's the important part. You always have it somewhere there. Some people get out of it for a little bit, but it's like it always pulls you back. You're never going to stay gone forever.
Yeah, we were talking about that not too long ago. the last event was maybe Michigan when we were at Paracon there. That's the first time I think that I'd seen her in years. I mean, it's been a
Yeah,
long time. She's been
she
gone for a
had took a
while.
break from it, which that's understandable. Sometimes you get burnt out on things, and you just need a break. And I think she's back in the game now, back on the in the saddle again, if you want to say that. But yeah, she's ready to roll. So she's out there again.
Now, you're part of Creepy People Management. You guys manage a lot of people and do a lot of things with them too, don't you?
We manage a lot of creepy people, that's for sure. You included, Robin, with the mystery machine. But
You know, there.
myself and Lee and Jennifer Kirkland, yeah, it's fun to kind of have that nice little group of folks that we can always kind of use and do things with, and we book them to events all over the country. So it's pretty cool. You never know what kind of event you may be talking to next, or event you may be hosting, or what you may be doing. You may be talking to an alien person this day, or a Bigfoot person that day, or whatever the case may be. But we have a lot of fun. We do our own things too, our own events, and I couldn't do it with a group of better people.
Yeah, it's always fun. I mean, like you guys, it's a blast hanging out with you guys because I get to do a lot with you when you do Nick Groff Tour because we push the charity and stuff. But it's
Yeah.
always a blast getting to hang out and then doing the meals and stuff like that, and just kind of hanging out outside of some of the events and stuff because we don't get to do that often.
That's the fun part of it. The pre-show is the fun part. It's usually a lot of go at events, and then afterwards it's a lot of go again. Like after this past event, we had to be up at like 4 a.m. to get Dustin to the airport, and then we hit on the road for, God bless Lee, he always drives, so he didn't have much sleep. But it is a lot of, you go a lot when you're doing these things. You all know that yourself, and then afterwards you need kind of a break from your break. So it's just kind of the way that it is sometimes.
You need a break from the break.
That's right, you need a break from the break.
Can't hear you, Robin. Can't hear you.
I was typing, so I muted myself.
We were playing a game where you could see what he read his lips. Let's see what we say.
Saying.
I was looking up those websites and all. So Norman told me that you could hear me typing.
Creepytalent.com. Yep, that's where you can get pretty much everything. It's creepytalent.com. You can find everything there, and then cryptidcon.com. That's of course. Cryptid Con, which we'll talk about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, you guys had the date set for Cryptid Con, don't you?
Yeah, we did. And we've had them, we've kind of been working on that for a little bit. Last year's event was just amazing. And, we're happy to bring that back again. And we were already working on folks. We're already getting folks, celebrities and speakers and all kinds of different things booked in for that. It's if you haven't been, I highly suggest it. If you're into cryptids of any kind, Bigfoot, monsters, legends, all that kind of stuff, we kind of do a little something for everybody. We try to make it where if a researcher comes, they can gain some knowledge from folks. If a TV fan comes, maybe they can meet some folks they've seen on television. And then just networking. We try to make it where people can network, and that's the important part. A lot of these events are networking opportunities. And I mean, you both have done stuff at your places, and you can see that the networking that goes on at some of these things just grows throughout the years. And it's pretty cool to kind of see that happen and where it ends up. Even from back in the days of Scarefest when we were all involved with that, the networking that started there and grew from there. I mean, we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I met you guys like through networking. I mean, and at other events and stuff. I mean, well, back at that time, it was like Scarefest. You know, I can't even remember how I met you guys.
The first time I ever met you was when it was when you had Katrina.
Yeah,
I
and
believe
Chip.
y'all were doing something, and and Chip, and we went and had dinner with you. I think it was like a Texas Roadhouse or something.
It was. I remember
But that was
that
the
now.
very first time. Yep, that was the very first time that I ever met you. So, and then I was like, oh, okay, you know. But after that, we just rode on.
What did Robin caught that? He's like, well, like he's probably thinking, well, what was it? Oh, okay.
That was golly, that was a long time ago. Actually, that was years ago. Yeah.
I was back in the beginning of the charity days. I mean, that was early on. I mean, that was probably 2014, probably. I think.
Yeah, you know, maybe earlier than that. Honestly, it was.
Could have been earlier than that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was a long time ago.
I didn't even know Robin then.
Back when everybody had hair, right?
That's right. Yes, I think you're right.
Even Robin probably had hair.
Yeah, I think you're correct. Yeah, I think you're correct.
Yeah, you guys just released a new Nick Groff Tour event you're doing.
Yeah, we got Virginia City coming up in July. That one's a little bit of an undertaking. I've been working on that for a little bit because you have so many locations, and you know we have to work with somebody on the ground there, and then they kind of talk to people and get us lined up, and then we can kind of set everything in stone. But that one takes a little effort on that one. But yeah, that one's coming up. It's a really cool place. You know, that whole town is just amazing, and we haven't been out there in probably, golly, that was one of the first years we did the tour, I think. So it's kind of cool to get back out there and get back to Virginia City and see what goes on there. I mean, the Washoe Club, you never can go wrong with that. That's a really cool place. And we've tried to sprinkle in some new places in town for that one. So those tickets will go on sale tomorrow. So if you're watching this now, tomorrow you buy the tickets. That's how that works.
Where do you get the tickets from?
You can go to nickgrofftour.com, or if you go to creepytalent.com, should be a little tab up there for the Nick Groff Tour.
Okay. Yep. Saw that one earlier. So
now, are you looking at adding more Nick Groff Tour?
Yeah. Stuff's starting to open up again. So we're kind of, trying to get back out there. The hardest part sometimes is, with Nick's schedule, he's filming a lot. And well, I mean, they're not being shown in America, but he's very, very popular all over the world. It's just not airing in America. He's got all kinds of Discovery UK stuff going on and other networks that's showing the Death Walker stuff. And he's filming constantly for that. Those other countries and networks are very hungry for his content. So, I mean, and he's got family too, the new wife and new baby on the way. So, he's a little busy. So, we're trying to fit him in there. That's for sure.
Yeah. I noticed that he's back out and doing some more filming because I saw like one of the comments Lee was getting on to him. He came to Kentucky when you guys were gone.
We were literally driving, like through the area. We were going to Ohio. He was in Kentucky. And, that's how it works sometimes.
Maybe he was avoiding you guys this week.
He could have been. That could have been right.
Have you heard anything about that with anybody, Jeff, that people aren't showing up to stuff because of the higher gas prices?
We haven't had an issue with it. I'm sure that's probably going to be an issue for us as we fly to places and travel to places. I mean, we did see a little bit of a rise in gas prices when we were going to and from Ohio. But I don't think it's going to be enough to tell. I mean, it's going to be higher, I'm sure. But with anything that anybody plans, you kind of got to factor in some of the unknown stuff. I mean, it's just good event planning because you're always going to have those factors that, may happen, weather or whatever the case may be. And we've ran into about everything. So you just kind of got to always expect the unexpected. But I think when people buy these tickets in advance, they plan for that kind of stuff. It's not going to be something where it's like tomorrow I'm going to go, spend whatever the price is to go do this. No, it takes some time. They'll buy tickets 2 or 3 months ahead of time and kind of plan out their trip, and a lot of them use it for vacations and things too. So I think that's planned for. I don't know that it will be that big of a burden. I could see it being like for conventions might be an issue because a lot of those are day travels type things. But I don't know that it would be enough to kind of really tell.
Yeah, it's not like you're doing a convention every weekend in most cases anyway.
Right, yeah. And now conventions, I could see where people might say, well, I don't want to drive, however many hours. But again, people plan for that stuff. I mean, you got to have money to get autographs at some of these, like especially horror conventions and stuff. I mean, autograph prices are quite expensive sometimes. So, they always kind of budget. A lot of the fans do anyway. That about over the years, I've kind of seen that they'll have a budget in place.
Yep, I agree with you.
Hey, what about? Are you still doing like the ghost walks in Lawrenceburg?
Yep. That'll start back up late August, and it'll run all the way to October till Halloween. That'll be every Saturday. So it's good. I think this is going into my golly 7th year, maybe 8th year, maybe of doing the ghost walk. So I mean, it's popular, and honestly, the pandemic didn't do anything but help. I was actually had more business during the pandemic than a lot of places did, and because there wasn't a lot of haunts and stuff going on, so a lot of haunted houses were shut down, and people were looking for things to do, and I was allowed to stay open because I was considered an outside event. So I had people drive 2 hours away just to come to the ghost walk because they didn't have anything close to them. So people were traveling, trying to find stuff to do. So it's good. I enjoy doing it. It's fun, and it's a good way to spread history through spooky stuff.
Yeah, it's a good time because I got to actually come down the one time and the one weekend and
Yep.
get to check it out and do the tour and stuff, it was fun.
Yeah, if anybody's interested, LawrenceburgGhostWalk.com. I'll be updating that soon, but the Facebook page is Lawrenceburg Ghost Walk, and I'll update all that stuff as it gets closer. But mine's a little different than most ghost tours. A lot of ghost tours is just people walking around, and hearing stories, and I do the same thing, but mine's more of a walking presentation. I show, like you've seen before, video and pictures and audio on a tablet, so you get a little more bang for your buck than just me sitting up there talking. I mean, I don't know if anybody would come if it was just me standing there talking.
And of course, like the time that we went, like when I was there, stuff, we got the little bit of the bonus. We got to hang out in the
right.
Oh God, I forgot the name of the place.
The Rippy House, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing, I mean, they've renovated that place now. Totally renovated that place, and that's great. That's what we wanted to happen. So I don't go in anywhere now. I pretty much stay on the outside, but it's allowed me to add more stuff in. So you get more video, you get more audio, you get more pictures, and it don't, a lot of times when we would go into a place, it would just be like, okay, nothing happened. It's just really hot in here. Or it would be like, nothing happened. It's just cold in here. So then we would spend 30 minutes, in a haunted place where nothing happens, where I could have you out showing you more stuff and telling more stories. So I think people enjoy that in the long run.
Yeah. Anybody gets a chance, go check it.
Yeah, are they still doing investigations there at that hotel?
No, they haven't done those for a while. They actually turned it into a haunted house. I don't know what they're going to do, honestly, because they haven't had it open the past 2 years because of COVID. So I'm not real sure what's going to happen there. There's been some talk of repurposing it for something. But if you're going to repurpose a place like that, boy, that's an undertaking. You're going to have to do a lot of work, as you know, some of these older buildings. When you get into them, you don't know the issues till you get in there. And I don't know that that's going to be an option. But hopefully it is. I like to see these places revitalized in a positive way. But I don't know. We'll see what happens there. So basically on the tour, now I do kind of a virtual tour of the place. I show you the pictures going in and what the hallways look like. And then we'll show video and things inside. So you get a good, nice glimpse of what it looks like.
Yeah, I was there the night that Newkirks were there. That we played with the mattress.
Yep. Yeah, that was one of the nights that we found out that the blood on the mattress was actual blood. So that was pretty cool. And then Greg and Dana actually was with me when we did the final investigation of the hotel, and that was something else. I did do show video and things from that investigation on the walk, but that place is something else. I'll tell you that. It's an interesting place. It's got a whole lot of history that we will never know about because it's just lost to history. There's a huge gap from about 1934 to probably 1965 that we don't know nothing about. Don't have any stories from, and there was some crazy stuff I'm sure went on up there. But it's a weird place.
Yeah, I remember seeing that episode with the mattress and all that stuff. It's crazy. I mean, it's blood.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, you can go on Discovery Plus. That episode is on there with Paranormal Lockdown, the Anderson Hotel episode. You can kind of see what it looks like, and you can watch Nicolay on the mattress, which it's gross, and I never did that. But he's got some kind of weird thing with laying on mattresses. I always tell him.
Well, and that mattress was gross without the blood stains.
Oh yeah, it was just old, and when it was humid up there, it was damp. So I ain't laying on that. That's weird and gross. I'm not going to do that. I don't know what's on there, so I don't want to lay on
that. I think we all know what's on there. That's another good reason not to lay on it.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. There's a lot more than blood on that mattress. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Man, I forgot what I was going to say. I do that time to time for some reason, and it always never fails. It's during when we're doing the show.
Well, that's okay.
He forgot his hat again. That's the problem.
Escape,
so.
That's it. They just kind of go out the top.
Massive brain inside there.
Yeah, everything travels.
Out the window media. Are you still doing some stuff with that?
Yeah, I do that all the time. That's kind of what funds some stuff. I've been doing a lot of political commercials and things lately, but whatever it takes to fund other projects is cool with me. I do a lot of stuff. I haven't really been working on any documentaries lately. I haven't really had time. I've been doing a lot of stuff with just local folks, Chamber of Commerce and different things like that. They want you to do commercials or whatever the case is. But I'm always open to do anything at all. I'm pretty much a one-man show. I've got an entire studio's worth of equipment that there's nothing I can't do. So I'm kind of the one-stop shop whenever locally they need something done and they want it done in a trustworthy manner. But like I said, I use like weddings and political things to fund my weird adventures or, my side projects. So I'm like, I really don't want to do this, but hey, it pays, so I can put some money into something else. That's right. You got to fund it some way, and that's what I do. I've been working on that, been doing that. I've got 3 documentaries out now. And I'm sure more will come. I've just been kind of taking a break from them because it was hard to travel during the pandemic, especially to other states and film things because you didn't know what restrictions they would have. So once that's kind of starting to open up, I'll probably start planning a few things. But I've got 2 on Amazon Prime. Murder in the Moonlight is on there. That's a true crime documentary. And then From Little to Legendary, which is a pro wrestler documentary, it's on there. My 3rd documentary, Hard Way, which is about deathmatch wrestling. It's not on anything like that because it was too violent for those platforms. So it's on a webpage called Smart Mark Video. So if you go to smartmarkvideo.com, or you can go to hardwayfilm.com, and it's got all the links for Hardway. But if you're interested in that kind of stuff, watch that stuff. But I've done a ton of stuff. I don't know, a lot. I've filmed the your charity stuff where every time that I film one of those, I don't know what I'm getting myself into, and it's always a challenge. There hasn't been one yet that I hasn't almost suffered some type of permanent damage from. Whether it be there's always somebody that gets injured on something, and I don't know that that's a good omen for having Nick involved. But there hasn't literally been an episode we haven't filmed that somebody hasn't gotten hurt. You got hurt on the mountain, and then Johnny Hauser got hurt on the Spartan track. So, and I was kind of thankful. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but when Johnny got hurt, it got me out of the cold and the mud. So I was like, "Hey, Johnny, I'll go back with you to the main place, and we'll film all this," because Nick was shirtless and he was keeping on going, and there was no way I was going to keep up with that. I mean, we can kind of talk about each one of those if you want, because each one of them has their own story. That's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about the near-death experience for you, on the mountain when we did.
I'll tell you, here's how the mountain came about. It was probably like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks before you all were set to climb the mountain, Mount Washington, which is the deadliest small mountain in the world, because the changing weather and patterns and the wind. And it actually, at its summit, it measured the highest wind speed on Earth. I don't know if it still holds that record or not, but at the time it did. There's a little plaque there. But Nick called and he was like, "I can't find anybody to film this." And I guess he had asked production companies and whatever. He's like, "I can't find anybody that's willing to do this because they're going to have to climb the mountain with us." And I was like, "I'll do it, I guess." And I don't know, really, I wasn't even thinking at the time, but I literally had no time to physically get ready for this. I mean, I wasn't in bad shape. I usually keep some type of shape, whether it be round or whatever. I'm usually in some type of physical condition because I literally go out every week hiking looking for Bigfoot and other creatures. So, I mean, I'm always out hiking. It's not a thing that's, I'm always in some type of condition. But in this situation, we got up there, I told him I'd do it, and then I started doing research on the mountain, and then I was sitting there going, "Yeah, this is not a good idea. This is probably the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life." So I had to get hiking boots, had to get all that kind of stuff, and I had to plan for how am I going to film this? How am I going to film this whole adventure? So I had to make sure I had the gear that I needed to do all that. And I remember that my luggage that I checked literally had my hiking backpack in it. And that was it. It had my boots and my hiking backpack, and everything else was carry-on. So I didn't have much clothes. The check bag was my hiking gear because you can't take, certain things on the plane. So I remember we got there, and you picked me up at the airport, and we drove in, and, we were kind of talking about everything. And then we were walking around, and you had your prosthetic on. So you were supposed to wear your prosthetic when we hiked up the mountain. Well, it started to leak air at the Mount Washington Hotel. I remember that. And we were like, "Oh, no, this is not good." So then Mike, being Mike, decided to power through and do it on crutches. So, I mean, and honestly, that was one of the most inspiring things I think I'd ever seen in my life.
I was thinking more like crazy.
Well, it was definitely crazy, but it inspired a lot of people, I think. And if you need to go watch that episode, it's on Amazon for sure, right? It's still on Amazon, right?
Yeah, I think it's still on.
But watch that. But the crazy part is I had the challenge of filming it, so I would have to be behind.
Oh, he just froze up. He just froze up. He's like this.
Yeah, that'll make a good screenshot for later down the road.
Yeah.
Where did Jeff go? Oops.
Where's Jeff?
Find
Where's
them.
Jeff?
Then I would have to
There
run
he is.
ahead and film them from the front.
Oh,
There we are.
We
Okay.
lost you for a minute.
So
We
any-
lost you for a
All
minute.
right. So anyway, I would have to like be behind them and film, run ahead and film, and like the weather conditions were not that bad, honestly, when we were low. But as we got higher, then it started to hail and it started to get windy and it started to get crazy. And Mike's hands were starting to give out on him with the crutches, and I think you twisted your ankle at some point and kind of tweaked your arms. I mean, your body was basically breaking down because of just the physical punishment that you were taking on the crutches, and it was mossy and it was slick as well because it had a little bit of rain, I think, at some point that week. Not right then, but it was kind of slick at some points. And then once you got up to the top, there were parts where Nick was carrying you on his back to try to help you out. And I just remember that whole day we were talking about how we were going to eat a big meal when we were done. Like that was what kept us going. Like that literally was what kept us going. Like we were eating like, I remember we went to the store, me and Mike did, to get supplies, and we got like cashews and, protein type stuff and water. And we were just eating that throughout the day. We were like, man, I want to have a steak after we're done. We're going to have a nice dinner. And then time started to gradually slip away from us. And there's a rule that if you're not to the summit by a certain time, that they actually shut down the summit. So they won't allow cars up there. And we were just going to hike up, and then we were going to drive down. That was the plan. So this time just started to tick. And then I remember Mike at one point, Nick was carrying him. He went to put him down. Your back was kind of tweaked, and then you were down. And so we had to go on up to try to get help because we couldn't get much service or anything out. And Nick's dad stayed with you. It reminds me like a trench that you would see like in World War II or something. Like it was literally like a trench.
That's crazy.
And so Nick ran ahead, and I hiked the last like mile and a half by myself to the top. And I had your crutches the whole time. I remember I took your crutches with you because I had them, and I was too far ahead to bring them back. So your crutches made it to the top. You were only like a mile away. But I remember getting to the top, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And like you just kept on going. You didn't have a choice. Like you just kept going and kept going and kept going. But when I got to the top, nobody was around. Like there was nobody around, and the wind gusts were 77 miles an hour at the top, and it was like 36 degrees, and the wind was just beating you up because you were above tree line. So I remember getting behind this sign that said, pump your brakes or give your brakes a rest. So I was like, I got to get out of this wind. So I sat behind the sign, and I finally walked on up, and I seen Nick up there. So I was like, oh, I can't go any further. And you had to get rescued using the tram or whatever they called that thing. Yeah. But that's the first time they had ever used that to rescue somebody off the mountain. And the crazy part about that is we couldn't even get a helicopter up there because we were so high with the winds. Yeah, and so they were like, you're probably just going to have to camp here for the night. And there's a sidebar story to that, because when we were first going up, before we ever started, I had a knife on my side. And Nick was like, why do you have a knife? I was like, you realize we're hiking 7 miles up through the wilderness. I was like, do you not have a blade or anything on you? I was like, you realize there are animals up here that will kill you. There are factors up here that will absolutely kill you as a person. And so I think I was one of the only people that had survival items in my backpack, tarps and different things like that. Because I was like, there's no way I'm going to die on this mountain. Because when I was at the top and not seeing anybody, I was like, I might have to start a fire over here, and this is where I'm going to have to camp for the night. But, I mean, it was insane. But, I mean, what a story. I have that, I have the picture of all of us right over here on my office wall. I keep it right there by my desk. and it's got all of us before we started, and it's got kind of the little, the little stats of the day. But it was such just a awesome time. And then the Spartan race, I signed on for that just ahead of time. It wasn't like last minute, but I told him, I was like, there's no way I'm running the Spartan race with you. I'm not doing that. Like, I'll film you, but I'm not going to be able to keep up with you. Well, we got up that morning. It was raining like crazy. Just rain. There's no way that Mike was going to be able to do that. I mean, there's no way with that rain. And so Johnny and them did it, and I ran and kept up with them. There was people falling out. Like, I've seen some of the craziest injuries ever. I seen a guy, he was carrying a bucket, and he fell, and it actually took his pinky and made it into an L shape, like an L like that. His pinky was broken that bad, and people were just getting bust out of there. Hypothermia because of the rain. I had a rain suit on, but I mean, it was so crazy. And then Johnny hurt himself in the mud, and I'd never seen the injuries from that. That was one of the craziest things I'd ever seen was, the injuries people were suffering from that. And we finally finished it. Nick finished it all. I mean, the whole thing, ran the whole thing, and that's on the episode too. But it's just, I'd never seen the determination of some of those people. They're getting hurt and just one of the craziest things I'd ever seen. And I tried to keep up with them, but due to the mud and me trying to film, it just wasn't possible. I mean, it's impossible. If we ever did it again, I would need a side-by-side. That would be the only way that you could actually keep up with them and film. And that's the only things that they would allow people to use is if you were filming or something like that, you could use a side-by-side. Of course, we didn't know that. But, even my media pass, I was going to keep it, as a memento. And it got so wet, it just fell off. So, I don't know. It's somewhere in the woods of South Carolina. Crazy
You're ready
time.
for the next one. You're ready for the next one.
Hey, I've got an idea. I do. I think we should. I think we should go try to survive in the Smoky Mountains. Survival style. I think that would be awesome. I've talked to Nick about it. I told him, I said, I think that would be a cool thing. Get one of these survival guys and maybe somebody that's facing their own challenges, like a military amputee or something like that, and go out and survive, bushcraft style in the Smoky Mountains. And I think that'd be cool. Crazy, but hey, we've almost died already, so why not push the envelope a little bit?
Yeah, no doubt. I have to say that the mountain was tough. It was probably one of the toughest things I've ever done in my life. I mean, and like you said, the intentions, like when I was kind of training in Indiana for a mountain it's not, you can train and you can kind of be prepared, but you're not prepared for that, because it's not like I'm climbing things.
There's a piece of it right there.
And
there's a piece of the rock right there.
Yeah, I didn't make it up there.
I've got a piece of it.
But it's so crazy though. It's like you can, I did all these trails and everything, but I wasn't climbing mountains. So
right,
even though I was prepared getting there, I wasn't prepared, and
and I'll tell you honestly, there's no way to prepare for that. And I don't care what anybody says. You've got to be in some type of mental shape to do that. A lot of people hike that mountain a lot, but a lot of people don't hike up. A lot of them, they ride that train to the top and they hike down, which is a lot easier. And that's what we ran into a lot. We didn't see a whole lot of people coming up with us. There was a whole lot of people coming down, and they would run that train up and then they would come down. But I mean, man, this the mental, you're just constantly getting kicked in the teeth. And you don't know what you're going to get into, and you're so far up. Well, now I can't change anything. I can't go back. And when it started hailing on us, that hail started falling. I was like, wow, we have no choice but to keep going now. I mean, we're this far in, we can't stop. And if you get hurt, you're going to wait hours before somebody can get there. And that showed me more than anything that it is very easy for something to turn into a survival situation quickly. Where you have to rely on yourself more than anything. You hear all these things and you hear these people talk and I've took training and classes for work on survival stuff, but they always preach it, but you never see it until you experience it. And in that situation, at the snap of a finger, we were in a bad situation quick, and we had to figure it out, and we had to run through it and try to get help. And we made it, but I'll tell you that McDonald's after that mountain was probably the best meal I've ever had in my life.
Me too,
I swear, because we were starving, and me and Mike drove probably 40 minutes to this McDonald's, and we ordered so much food, and we ate like kings, you know.
We ate it all. I think I ordered like 2 Big Macs and a large fry, and it
was crazy. Yeah, we ate it all. I'll tell you something funny about that though. Me and Mike both had this happen. We would wake up in the middle of the night having nightmares, and it felt like we were on that mountain again on those rocks. And I asked him the next day, I was like, man, I'd wake up and I'd think I'm on that mountain again. And it's because you're rocks and you're so unsteady on your feet. But golly, that was wild. That was just a wild time.
Like, remember when we were at the hotel? Remember where I was like having to push myself up the rocks myself?
Oh yeah,
my wrists were swollen.
Yeah.
So when I even went to the hotel room, I couldn't grab the doorknob.
Yep. Your hands were bruised. It was awful. I'll tell you something else. Like, I was so beat up from that I actually changed my seat on the plane ride back to an exit row seat where I could stretch out. Because I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to sit all scrunched up between people or beside somebody. I said, I need some room because, I mean, we were beat up after that thing. But, hey, it's an experience. You know, that's what I tell people all the time. And I think that's why I love doing the stuff like that, is because you only live one time that we remember. You know, there's past lives and things people might have. But, you know, we only live once. So, I mean, why not make it worth it? You know, you got to have stories to tell and things like that. I mean, I've done some of the craziest things you could ever imagine, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
We got to take Robin to some of the nonsense of this filming.
That's right.
Of course, he's not going to be like, I'm not climbing no mountain. He'll just be like, I'll watch you guys do it.
I'll be like, I'll sit here. That's fine.
Yep. So with the paranormal stuff and your Nick Groff tour, what's one of the craziest experiences you guys have had on the tour?
Oh God, a lot. I mean, we've been to some of the most haunted places in the entire country, and that was one thing that, you know, a lot of times you don't even think about. But I've been to some of the most active places supposedly in the country. So I mean, I've seen like probably 8 or 9 apparitions, voices and things, more than I can count. I mean, the stuff that you see on television is television, but they are in very, very, very haunted locations. And so the stuff that happens in some of those places, people may not believe it, but I mean, I've lived it, and it's until you get out there and you start seeing that stuff for yourself, you'll never understand it. And I still don't. I don't know what I'm looking at. And every time that I see a ghost, they're all a little different, and they all act a little different. But it's mind blowing, really. When you're out there and you're like, wow. I mean, you know, you see this on television, but this place really does live up to its name. I mean, like Ashmore. Ashmore is insanely haunted. It's very active, and until you're in those places, you'll never understand it. You may watch it on TV and you may say, well, oh, they're reacting this way or they're doing that. Well, yeah, there is a television aspect to that, but those places are 100% active. They're on all the time. So it's hard to pinpoint it to one place.
Marcus had a question for you.
Ever encounter a demon? I have once, but it was never at any of the haunted locations I've been to like that. It was at a small duplex in a town that I live close to, and I was doing a residential investigation. So out of all the crazy places I've been, never encountered a demon except for this little bitty small duplex in a town that I'm close to. That was one thing that I would consider it to be a demon or demonic type haunting. And I told him, I was like, you're going to have to get, clergy involved. I don't want to deal with this personally.
You still get any time to do any residentials like it close to you?
Nope, I
still,
hate
or-
them. I hate doing residentials. Absolutely hate residential investigations. The only time I will do them is if it involves a child or something that needs to be done urgently. And I always tell people, people ask or they have advice or whatever, if you're going to get involved in residential investigations, that is a big commitment because you have to dedicate yourself to that family 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And there's just not a lot of people out there like that now that's willing to give up that time. I mean, look at the old days when Zaffis and them would do those residential cases. They were literally at the beck and call, those folks, and that's the way you have to be. You have to be like that because those people are going through something that you're trying to help them deal with. You can't go into their house for 5 or 6 hours, tell them they got demons in there, and then leave. I mean, that's not the way it works. I've had to go in and clean up messes that way. I went in, there was this one lady that said, well, they said I had 9 demons in my house. Well, why'd they say that? Well, there was these orbs in her picture. And I said, well, you probably ain't got 9 demons, but you probably need a vacuum for sure. But you kind of gotta, sometimes you gotta go in there and you gotta clean up what others, the mess that others make. And it's important to me to try to help people learn to live with the paranormal because I promise you they're not going many places. And if they do go, they're coming back. They don't stay gone long, in my experience anyway. And a lot of times people start to clump everything as paranormal. If they got a little bitty haunting in their house, they'll start everything's paranormal now. There's ghost over here, there's ghost over there. And you got to try to teach them to be logical thinkers and say, well, that's probably not a ghost. That's probably not it either. Might have a ghost going on over here, but it's not going to hurt me, So it is a commitment. So I don't do them much anymore unless it's just very, very urgent type situation.
Yeah, that makes sense. And
I've been doing a lot of cryptid
a lot of people,
stuff. A lot of cryptid stuff.
I think the last time I knew
I've
that
been
you
doing
did
a lot of
thing, I think you were up in we were in Michigan, and I think you were sitting back there, and I was throwing candy to you because on one of your adventures, you kind of lost an ankle or something.
Yeah, I've been focusing a lot on cryptids. With the ghosts too, it's mainly ghost and cryptids, but there are several areas that I research pretty heavily. And I destroyed my ankle looking for Bigfoot a couple years back. Robin, remembers that when I was at Michigan, I was all bandaged up on crutches, and it was horrible. That was probably like a week out from getting hurt in the woods. And I'll tell you that story in a second. But I've been working on cryptids and focusing on that. And here lately, I've been working on mountain lions and mysterious big cats in the Kentucky area. I wanted to try to prove they exist because the state won't admit it. And I've had a lot of sightings and people contacting me on that kind of stuff. But, I started a YouTube channel a couple years ago, and I kind of put my research on there for the cryptid stuff. But the cool part about the incident that Robin's talking about is we had went out, and I was filming at the time. I was with Charlie Raymond, which is another investigator in the state. Lee and Jennifer were up at the camp. And we had went down into this gully, and we were actually following something. And we were following it because we had found a track. We had heard something crash through the trees, so we were trying to go there. And coyotes were going off all around us. It was weird. So we were going through this creek, and it had been raining, so it was very wet at the time. So what we had did was Charlie stepped up onto this bank. I went to step up. My foot slipped. I had my camera in my hand, so I didn't want to break my camera. So I tried to catch myself, and when I did, my right ankle rolled underneath of me and popped. So I was at the bottom of this hill, and I was hurt. So we started to holler. Charlie did for Lee. Lee and Jennifer came down with the rest of the group, and I got footage of it. I haven't really released that footage, but I've got footage of it all. But they were like, we need to probably call rescue. I don't know if we're going to be able to get out of here. I was like, no, we're not calling rescue because it gets very expensive. and I'm not going to pay for that bill. So I literally used a hiking pole to one leg hike up the hill and get to camp. And they were like, well, do you want to call an ambulance now? I was like, absolutely not, because again, I'm not paying this bill to get out of here. And then finally used a Jeep to get back to Lee's vehicle, and I crawled into the back of it. And Lee was like, what, do you want us to take us to the ER? I was like, nope, not doing that either. We're going to wait till tomorrow, and I'm going to go to urgent care because my insurance through work, through urgent care, is a $25 copay. I'm not going to go pay a $3,000 hospital bill if I don't have to. So I said, I'll go to urgent care in the morning. I'll let them x-ray it. If it's broken, then I'll have to get treatment. So I did that. Went to urgent care the next day. Actually, fun story too. I got to the house, and the way I got in the house was I crawled in on my one good leg and my hands, and I got into a desk chair and kind of rolled myself around the house. And then the next day I went to urgent care. It wasn't broken. The doctor said, you're going to wish it was broken because they could have fixed it. Otherwise, everything's, popped and messed up, so it's going to take longer. I had to wrap it up, get crutches, and I lived on crutches for a lot shorter than I probably needed to because I was filming other stuff, so I didn't stay off of it probably as long as I should have. But hey, it works now. No issues, no long-term damage.
It works now.
Yeah, so I'm a very thrifty, injured person right now. But when it comes to, and that's with my luck that I have. I did get a Bigfoot track out of it. Tom Shea casted the track we found that night. I have the only copy, and it is actually in a case right now on my wall. But they renamed that hill Waldridge Falls because that's where I fell. It's kind of a joke, but I do have that cast up there. But I go out alone all the time now, looking for Bigfoot in areas where I don't have cell service. So I always take gear and stuff with me, and I'm like, if something happens, I got to try to get out somehow. So I don't know. It's probably not the smartest thing in the world, but I've never been accused of being brilliant. So that says, with all the technology and 50 megapixel cameras, how come we can't get decent photos or big? I'll tell you the reason in my mind right here that I have. It's because people don't put the commitment out there. A lot of times people will go out and research, but they won't research the same area over and over and over again. Literally, I have 2 or 3 areas that I research, and I'm out in one of them every week. I've got game cameras out there. I do have something that's very mysterious that I did put up on my YouTube. It is something behind a tree, and you can see it blinking. I don't know what it is. I'm still on the fence about it. Don't know if what I captured is something. But I think a lot of times people don't put them in the right places. But I also think with game cameras, like any animal, if they're infrared, Bigfoot or whatever it is, they can smell that game camera. They know it's there. They can smell the batteries. I've had deer come up to my game cameras before, and they know they're there. They look right at them, and they smell it because the batteries put off a smell. The lithium batteries do. The electronics inside will put off a smell. If we're dealing with a highly intelligent forest creature of some kind, I mean, they're not stupid, okay? They're pretty much going to be the master of the woods. And if they have an IR flash go off, I mean, deer can see the IR. A lot of other animals can see the IR. So why wouldn't they be able to? So I don't know. I think there's a lot of factors there. And I think a lot of times that if people do get a really good picture of Bigfoot, that they're more likely not to share it because of ridicule than if they were to share it for another reason. And I think there's people out there that have some pretty good evidence pieces, but I bet you that they're afraid to show it. I've seen some evidence that's never been public, and I'm like, why didn't they never put this anywhere? And they're like, well, they didn't want to be judged for it. And they had no intentions. They had no ill intentions, but they also didn't want to be ridiculed because of it. They didn't want to be treated like a sideshow. And I'm telling you right now, there's good pieces of evidence that have never been released yet. That people just have. As crazy as it sounds.
I think that
I mean,
kinda
I've got
goes along with
I've got
ghosts.
Bigfoot hair right here. I've got a strand of Bigfoot hair right there on my wall that they've sent to scientists, but I ended up with a strand of it. So I don't know. You know how people are. Same difference with mountain lions. You know, they're going to avoid humans at all costs in most cases. There have been very few game camera pictures of them, but people have had their animals attacked and they've found tracks and everything else in this area. So, I mean, animals aren't stupid, and you learn that a whole lot if you watch raccoons. You know, if you watch raccoons on game cameras, I've seen them do some of the craziest things you could ever imagine, and they were smart little things. I had apples hanging from a tree on these little wooden dowels, and they took and pulled them up and plucked the apples off and let the dowels go again and ran off. So, I mean, you may not have Bigfoot still in your bait, but I guarantee the raccoons are.
What's the name of your YouTube channel?
Monster Bait TV. But I use it pretty much to put all my research and to kind of keep it as a catalog. So I mean, that's where I put everything. All of my stuff like that, all my cryptid investigations and stuff like that. I try to keep it there because I want it for future generations to use. I've been filming stuff for about 2 years now and kind of compiling things and getting it on there. But it's I enjoy it. You know, it's a good way to get out in the woods, and being out in the woods is kind of like a stress release, and you get to be out there among nature. And until you're actually out there in the woods at night by yourself, you really don't get in tune with everything. I mean, I've had some crazy stuff happen. I've been stalked by something on 2 legs out in the woods. I've heard vocals. Never seen one yet. But I've seen tracks, and like I said, I got that one piece of footage on there of something behind the tree blinking. I don't know. It could be anything. I've tried to kind of leave it out there, and I won't say 100% that it's something unusual. I just won't do that unless I have it right in front of me and say, well, there he is. But I have found quite a bit of stuff, and it's a good way to network, too. You know, I talked to Tom Shea and Charlie Raymond a whole lot. But I like to explore all areas of cryptids, and the mountain lion stuff is one of the newest things that will probably get me eaten. But, if I run up and prove that they exist, which I do have some pretty cool stuff evidence-wise that I've been sent, I hope that I safely prove that they exist, because they will be on you before you know it, and I don't want to be eaten in the woods. That's probably be how I go. If I go soon, it will be me being eaten in the woods, and then they'll find my camera footage and somebody will release it and make a lot of money. But, whatever. People have to benefit somehow.
One thing
I'll be found footage.
Yeah. So, yeah, you've got a print up there on the wall, a footprint up on the wall. I've always kind of wondered, and I've joked with Mike about this too, is like, how come anybody always finds one Bigfoot footprint? They don't ever find like a pair.
I'll tell you what happens there, and it's not just one usually, but unless somebody is a really good tracker, they won't see the path. Like, they'll find the one print maybe in a bare spot, but yet if you don't have a mind or you haven't really done any tracking stuff, you won't be able to say, okay, what's going this way? There's a tree limb that's broken. There's a limb that it's stepped on over here. You can track them if you do that. I'll tell you what runs into a lot of times, especially this time of year here, is the leaf litter on the ground. You can't hardly see tracks right now, unless it's just in a bare spot, which most animals are not going to step in a bare spot of ground. They just don't. You may get some raccoons do it because they don't care, but I mean, most animals will stay away from it. But you usually find more than one track, but you may have one castable track that's actually something that you can, responsibly cast. Like, I found a pathway where 2 were walking together, and one track was about 18 inches, the other one's about 11 and a half, and they were right side by side, and they were going over this huge steep hill. But there were only one track each that I could have cast and actually made a print out of. The other ones were in tall grass, but you could see where they had went over the hill. So in that situation, you just take pictures of it. I don't cast a lot of tracks. If I find a really good one, I might, but I'm more on the trying to get vocalizations and stuff like that, because I think you can probably make a whole lot more headway with vocalizations and stuff than just casting a bunch of tracks that are, okay. But if it's a really good track, yeah, I'll cast it.
How do we know some of them might not be an amputee like me? Maybe they're using trees and tree branches and stuff to walk, Robin. Yeah.
Mike may be running down through the woods. You never know. He may be hopping around up there.
Yeah.
Maybe they just got one leg. Who knows? We don't know. I mean, who knows? It could be anything. I will tell you that in being out in the woods and seeing how I treat it a lot like a crime scene type crime investigation. You know how a lot of times in a criminal investigation, if you have a string of burglaries or something, you're going to look at a center point. So you may say your burglaries are all out here on your little dots on the map, which is what I do. And then you're going to find a center point where you're like, okay, this person may likely be around this area. So this is the area I may need to look at. And that's what I try to do. I look at historical reports, and then I try to look at an area close by there. And it works. It's worked 2 or 3 times that I went out. But a lot of times people don't put that historical research in there. And that's important because they're not just going to go away usually. They're going to be in that area at some point. And I've got one area now where I'm very close to, I think, finding out where they are bedding down. I think they live in that area at some place. It's about a 9,000 acre well, probably a little more than that, honestly, but between a 9,000 and 10,000 acre wildlife management area. So it's very controlled land, but it's still very wild. And there's some very aggressive interactions that have took place there.
So, well, we're about out of time, but so what have you got going on coming up? Anything with stuff you're involved in?
We got Cryptid Con, of course, cryptidcon.com. We'll be announcing guests on that. The Creepy People events, the Groff Tour and other things. We were rolling that out. We got the Virginia City event getting ready to go on sale. We've got Bigfoot at the Beach out in Oregon. It's one we're doing for the Chinook Winds Casino. That'll be in June, I believe. They're having us kind of do that out there. If you're ever looking for speakers or anything like that, creepytalent.com. We've got a huge list, Robin included with the Mystery Machine, of folks that you can actually get to come out to your events, and we'll give you a quote on that kind of stuff. And then just doing research. That's kind of my side gig when I'm not doing this or that. And then my production stuff is kind of my passion. I get to retire very soon. So, in about a year or so that'll be my full-time gig after that. But and then you can watch my research and stuff on Monsterbait TV on YouTube. It's Monsterbait TV. So if you want to look at my research, I post a video every time I go out, and I try to educate people through a fun way on Bigfoot and cryptids, and that's kind of the way I try to head with that. A lot of stuff on YouTube's hokey and silly, but I try to educate folks, and people enjoy it and watch from all over the place for some reason. I don't know why, but I guess I'm entertaining. I don't know.
Are you familiar with that Paracon in Peru?
And then hopefully we can take Mike out. I want to go back out.
Yeah.
We need to plan the next one. I swear we need to do something really, really good. I really want to get that going. I want to do something with Mike, and I've talked to him about it, and I want to try to raise some funds with the charity. Maybe I spend 24 hours by myself somewhere, or, I don't know, something. But I want to try to help him out. I always lost limbs as a near and dear place in my heart. I always enjoy, helping them out as much as possible.
Yeah, we'll have to figure something out. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll do something. Maybe where I don't get eaten or something. But
yeah, preferably.
That would be good.
Yeah.
If I survive the mountain lions, maybe we'll We'll go
There you go.
do that. But hey, look, I've got a nice pocket guide. I've been doing all kinds of research, so hopefully I don't get eaten.
Somebody will find the guide.
Yeah, they'll find the guide and my camera footage, and as long as it lives on in history, that's all that matters.
That pocket guide will be that nobody will buy that anymore. They'll find you dead with the pocket guide. Like, oh, that damn thing didn't work, did it? So
be like, well, that didn't work. I'll be like, that cat right there ate him is what happened. But no, like, I highly encourage people to come out to one of our events with me and Lee and Jennifer. I mean, they're like family. We're all like a big creepy family, you all included, and we try to bring you all out to as much as we can. But I mean, I promise if you come out to one of our events are a whole lot different than other people's. We try to be personable with people, and we try to help and educate people and bring out people that are good people to hang out with and learn from. So, anything you all ever need, you all know we're just a phone call away. But I really appreciate you all having me on and letting me, ramble on for an hour or so.
well, thanks for coming on tonight too.
Yeah, thanks.
Taking some time out schedule.
No problem at all. I appreciate it anytime.
All righty.
Appreciate it too.
Well, we'll let you go and get back to your evening, and we'll get out of here pretty quick then.
All right, y'all be good.
All right.
See you. Thanks again.
See you later.
All right. Night.
Night.
Well, it's good having him on. So
Yeah, it was fun.
But yep. So next week, I think I've got it up here someplace. Let me see where I did it. There we go.
Next week.
Yep, Philip Booth next week. We'll have Philip Booth. We had Chris on a couple weeks ago, so we got Philip coming on next week. Going to talk a little bit about filming and cameras and the paranormal and stuff like that. So that'll be good. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So, but well,
Good time.
I'm going to get out of here, and it's been a long day anyway. So it's time to wrap things up. So we'll see everybody out here next Tuesday.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.
My name is Mike, and I'm the founder of the Lost Limbs Foundation. The Lost Limbs Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that provides assistance to amputee children in need of prosthetics. I started the charity after my own struggles after my leg being amputated just above the knee. Prosthetics cost thousands of dollars, and the average lifespan is 5 to 7 years on a prosthetic. Kids are constantly growing, so they'll go through multiple prosthetics throughout their life. This is the prosthetic leg that I use, and the cost was about $70,000. The Rhodes Hotel is in Atlanta, Indiana, and is owned and operated by the Lost Limbs Foundation. We are currently doing photo shoots, ghost hunts, and special events to help raise money for the charity. For more information, you can go to lostlimbsfoundation.org. With your help, we can help these kids one step at a time.